Hello, I'm so happy you're joining me here today, and I'm Gina Tabrizi, licensed marriage and family therapist with over 33 years of experience. And we're doing these video series so that you have somewhere to go when you just need to get a little advice. Maybe you're hesitant to go into a therapist's office. Maybe you've never tried that before, and I'm hoping this is a way for you to see what that process might be like. And every week we're doing new videos. So like I said, if you've just joined us, there's other videos that will be coming your way. Just stay tuned. So every week we talk about something different, and I wanted to talk to you today about self-love. So I had someone pose the question to me recently and said, if I'm always working on myself, focused on myself, and particularly for this person, it was around fitness, always focusing on their health and wellness to a point of maybe feeling like they're excluding other people because it's so vital to them that they're very disciplined about it. And they said, is this then an obsession? And so in my conversation, I started to analyze a little bit, well, is it a healthy obsession? Yeah, I think so. When we're doing things to care for ourselves that are not harmful, really and truly, that's about self-care. And doing self-care on a regular basis becomes self-love. See, the reason it's important to build a self-esteem where you're able to love yourself is because without it, you will suffer greatly. All of the wounds and all of the pain and all of the suffering from relationship really comes from an ability to love oneself, because we're always seeking validation from the outside. And so when you're seeking validation from other people, you're always going to miss the mark. You're never going to get exactly what you need and you want from someone outside of yourself. And oftentimes when we've been taught that it is our role to always take care of others first and kind of leave ourselves behind because it's a caring thing to do, then we're conditioned to seek our self-esteem from other people. Hopefully you're following that, and I want you to think about it in the pattern of your life, how you grew up, and in your relationships, maybe throughout your past or even right now. So kind of take a personal inventory. See, as we're growing up, we're taught it's really kind to share, you should give your toy to the other kid, you should share your notebook, whatever it is, because a gesture of kindness, as human beings, we're connected, and we need to have that connection. It's how we thrive emotionally. But one of the things that happens is some of us are taught to do that to a fault. We do it so much that we forget to take care of our own needs. And it not specifically gender specific, but it does happen a little more on average to females who are taught the nurturing is the most important quality, and in some ways it's instinctual because of carrying children and giving birth, and that's a natural biological event that happens where you have this tremendous instinct to nurture others. So when you're focused on nurturing other people and caring for other people, it is really, really easy to slight yourself. The other thing that happens is if you come from a family who's always telling you you want too much, you need too much, you're too emotional, you need to wait, you need to slow down, you need to back off. If you're getting these subtle messages of, hey, nobody's got time for you and we don't care what your needs are right now, then what happens to you is you learn not to take care of yourself. You learn that your needs are not important. And when you learn that, you replicate that in all of your relationships. And truly, if you're sitting in relationships where your needs are not being met, how are you feeling? You're going to feel depressed, you're going to feel anxious, and you're especially going to feel less than. And most of us suffer a little bit of feeling less than. And one of the definitions I learned through my years of practice from a woman named Pia Melody, if you want to look her up, and her books, they're incredible, was she defined trauma as anything less than nurturing. And I thought that's amazing, because if you've never been abused or hit or beaten, come from an alcoholic family, been ignored, been tossed out, maybe you were adopted, maybe you grew up in a foster home, if you haven't had these other really visible and apparent traumatic events, but yet you feel less than, you may have experienced something that Pia calls less than nurturing. I like to say when your emotional needs go unmet, when you are not treated with respect or regarded, when you're not seen, when you're not heard, when you're not held, when you're not cherished, when you're not told that you are wonderful and amazing, and when you are not told on a regular basis that you are loved, then you too will experience trauma. No one has to lay hands on you or beat you or belittle you for you to have a sense of feeling traumatized by the fact that your needs aren't being met. Now, why am I going in this avenue, and what does that have to do with self-love? Well, that breeds a person that doesn't know how to love themselves because they didn't feel loved. And worse, they feel they're unworthy of it. So many of us grow up, and many of us in relationship feel like, well, maybe I don't deserve love. Maybe this is all I deserve. And when you walk around believing, well, maybe this is all I deserve, then you accept crumbs. You accept less than what you need and less than what you want. And that will always leave you feeling half empty. And so I want you to consider right now, if this is happening in relationship with you, whether it's in your friendship or your partnerships or your romantic relationships, maybe in your marriage, then I want you to start to look at and break down, wait a second, am I accepting those crumbs when really I want a full meal? I want the steak and potatoes and the salad. I want the soup. I want the dessert on the side. Whatever it is that floats your boat, I want you to look at it from that perspective. I'm sitting here eating these little crumbs. That's never going to serve you. So what is self-love about? Self-love is about acknowledging that I am worth being cared for and I am worth caring about. It's finally deciding for yourself that you will not accept less than what you need and what you want. And how can you practice that self-care? You can practice that self-care on a daily basis. It starts by learning the word no and saying to people no when you're invited to do things that don't meet your needs, when you're asked to go places that you don't want to go, when you're asked to do tasks that don't fill you with passion, when you feel uncomfortable in a situation. You have to practice saying no because it's a boundary that you're setting to do what feels right to you, and that's an act of self-care. The other ways you practice self-care is taking care of your mind, your body, and your spirit, so physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Feeding your body nourishing things, getting plenty of rest, doing things that allow you to learn to be in a relaxed state of mind. So these are basic things doctors have been telling us for years and years and years, and we keep thinking we're supposed to do something different, supposed to do something else, or we're supposed to take pills to recreate all these feelings that I'm describing to you that you can gain in your body very naturally and very simply by doing mindfulness practices. Mindfulness practice of walking, meditation, prayer, yoga, sitting and reflecting and going outside in nature. Like, there's simple things that you can do that cause your mind and your body to relax. And what you put in your body, the fuel that you use to fuel your mind and your body, is so very, very important. So putting things that are processed and canned and refried and fatty and greasy and all of this stuff is just clogging down your system, which your mind, your gut, and your brain are interconnected. So you clog your tummy, you're clogging your thoughts, you're clogging your brain. So these are like basic things to think about. How am I practicing self-love in these areas of my life? And the place where it shows up the most is how am I practicing self-love in my relationships with other people? As I started to say in the beginning, could it be an obsession? When self-love becomes an obsession, then we like to call it, in my field, narcissism. And what that means is I've come to the point where the only person I really care about is myself. The only thoughts I really care about are my own. I don't really care how other people feel, and I certainly don't care how I'm impacting them. So that is very, very different, and that's an extreme form or an obsession, obsessional love. So we are talking about a healthy sense of love and a healthy sense of self-esteem. And it starts with you deciding that you deserve and that you're worth being loved, that you're tired of being in relationships where you're not seen, where you're not heard, where people don't regard you, where your thoughts and opinions are not valued. So take an inventory right now. If you can check off some of those statements, then you are not practicing self-love nor self-care. Self-care is the practice daily that will increase the feeling of self-love. I don't know if I could say that again before. Self-care is the practice daily of doing things that will increase the feeling of self-love. And why is that necessary? Because at the end of the day, you were born into this world alone and you die alone. Really, there could be people around you, but at the end of the day, when this mind and this body and this spirit showed off, it's just me and me. So you've got to get right with you if you're to be right with anybody else in the world. You cannot avoid the relationship with yourself because you will drown in doing so. You will never thrive, and you won't have the things that you need, that you want, that you value, and you won't have a life that's full of passion. Really, if you think about the more you love yourself and the more comfortable you feel in your own skin or in your own temple, as I like to call it, the more passionate you're going to be about life, about your thoughts, about your dreams, about your work, about your relationships. So it is okay to love oneself. It is not selfish. When you hear other people saying to you, you're being selfish, it's because they're not used to practicing that in their own lives. So maybe you need to be a little bit selfish. Maybe if you've been a person who's always giving away your time and your talent, always take care of others, then maybe it is your turn and your time to be a little bit selfish, to care for yourself. Truly, when you do what you need to care for yourself, you actually have more to give other people. You'll actually have more energy. You'll actually be able to be better focused. You'll actually feel more passionate about the things that you're doing. So I want you today to kind of go through a mental checklist of relationships and see if you're sitting in any of those relationships where you don't feel cared for or heard or seen. And then take a second checklist. How am I taking care of myself? What am I doing on a daily basis? You can't do it once a month. You can't check out once a month, although that's really healthy, and take a staycation or go away with friends. That's a beautiful thing. You should always practice those things. And spending time with friends can be really, really nurturing. If friends are people that lift you up, that see you, that validate you, that honor you, and that love you, then that could be very nurturing. Friends could also be very, very draining. So in your checklist, notice who you're spending your time and your energy with. And also allow yourself to see, what am I doing daily to practice self-care? And if it's exercise for you, beautiful, because that boosts your immune system. It helps your blood cells. It helps you feel more energetic. It sends great signals to the brain that you're doing well. Dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, all of this great stuff, neurotransmitters going to your brain and setting your brain on fire. So those are happy, healthy, natural drugs that your body is receiving when you do things like that. So check your list, see what things you're doing for self-care, see if you need to add something into your routine. Remember the mindfulness practices too, of slowing down, resting, relaxing, meditating, or prayer. And I hope that for you, if this is new, that you will take it very seriously and know it's okay to love myself. I deserve that. It's okay to speak to myself in ways that are loving, kind, and nurturing. And if you're used to putting yourself down or saying, oh my God, that was so stupid, or I screwed up, or what's wrong with me, I want you to knock it off. Go to your mirror in your bathroom and write a daily affirmation that you can live with, like, I am worthy. I deserve love. I am capable. I can do what I set my mind to. What I am lovable. Whatever, I am enough. Whatever it is for you, go in your bathroom, write it in your mirror, say it every day, practice saying it 10 times a day. I promise you, your brain and your unconscious mind follows what you tell it. So if you keep telling it bad and negative things, it will keep manifesting a life that feels negative to you. So please do that today. Please give yourself that opportunity to feel loved. Start with you, because everything starts and begins with you. I'm so grateful that you joined me here today, and I'll hope you'll come back and you'll visit me on Ask Gina too, on my Instagram, on my Facebook page, and continue to follow these series, and I hope that they're helpful to you. I thank you so much, and have a great day.